afternoon. Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me back there in the back? I think some of you can, but I'm not sure if everybody can. Patty's going to go turn me up. I think that's probably a good idea. I'm Brenda Payne, the CEO here at the Hendersonville Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome all of you to our January luncheon. Well, that's okay. Here we go. She was just kidding. Okay, so maybe that's working. So, Don, I know that we're trying to be on with the camera. We want to make sure that we get this filmed because I know there are a lot of people in the area who want to take a look at this luncheon after we are done here today, folks who weren't able to get here. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope all of you have had a great, great holiday season and a great start to 2014. We're delighted that you are here and a part of the Chamber Luncheon today. Lisa Byers, who is our chair, sends her regrets for not being able to be here today. Unfortunately, the Goddard School has had a little bit of a problem with their heating system today. And so the new addition to the school that opened up this past year does not have heat. And so they're having to move their children into the other side of the building and take care of that and make sure that they're all taken care of. This cold weather is pretty brutal to a lot of us and the things that are going on that we're trying to get done. We are really, really blessed with a special speaker today, and I'm not going to take anybody's thunder, but I do want to say that we are so pleased to have Mayor Karl Dean here with us today. Mayor, please. Mayor Dean has certainly been a breath of fresh air throughout the entire region, and so we are so thrilled to have him come and give us his additional vision for this area. Before we get too far along in the program, though, I want to make sure that we have properly blessed this food and have done our Pledge of Allegiance, and so I would ask Frank Friels with Volunteer State Bank to come and give our pledge and prayer.
Thank you. Let's pray. Father, we are thankful for the beauty of the day. And Father, we are thankful for the cold because it does remind us that we have a warm place to sleep and food to eat. And Father, we pray your blessings on those who are without and that you would just protect them. Father, we're thankful for this community and for all those represented here. We're thankful that we live in a community and in a nation where we're free to do commerce. And I just pray that we would do these things for your glory. I thank you also for our meal and pray your blessings upon it. For we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. As we do every month, we want to recognize our new members. December is a little bit of a light month. You know, usually we stand here and name off 12 to 15 new businesses, but folks were a little bit distracted in December, I think, and so we were not able to recruit as many, but we do have a couple, and I want to make sure that we recognize them. Life Survival Health PC. The name is Joseph Valdez, MD, and I think Joseph may, in fact, be here today. Wendy, is that true? Or okay, Joseph. Okay, thank you very much. We welcome you to the Hendersonville Chamber, and so glad that you're here today. And then we have a second new member who's really not a new member, but he's a new member in another name, and it's Lynn Silverman, who has joined the Chamber under the name of the Minerva Group. And so, Lynn, we welcome you here today as well. Thank you very much. And as we always do, we want to recognize all of our elected officials. And I know that I have seen aldermen and county commission folks and state representatives and senators and all of those kinds of people. And so I'm not going to try to remember where you are. So if we could start on this side of the room, if you would stand and introduce yourself so that we would know that you are here, please. Anybody on this side? Thank you. Anybody else on this side of the room? Oh. Thank you, Don. And my new buddy at Rotary, so that's thank you, Don. What about the center here? And on this side of the room, do we have it? We want to thank all of you for taking time out of your schedules to come and be a part of this today. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce the chair-elect for the Hendersonville Chamber, Gina Scott with Pinnacle Financial Services, and Pinnacle Partners, I think is the right name, and she is going to introduce our speaker today. Thank you, Gina. Please welcome.
Thank you, Brenda. It is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Karl Dean is the 6th mayor of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. He was elected September 11, 2007, re-elected August 4, 2011. Mayor Dean's priorities are improving schools, making neighborhoods safer, and bringing more and better jobs to Nashville. He also works to sustain and improve Nashville's high quality of life through numerous initiatives that promote health, sustainability, and volunteerism. Mayor Dean first held public office when he was elected as the Nashville's public defender in 1990, a post he was re-elected to in 1994 and 1998. Mayor Dean served as Metro Law Director from 1999 to January 2007 when he resigned to run for the office of mayor. Mayor Dean completed the program of senior executives in state and local government at the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard in 1999. And he has also served as an adjunct professor of law at Vanderbilt. Please give a warm Hendersonville welcome to Mayor Karl Dean.
Well, thank you, Gina, for that very kind introduction, and thank you all to the members of the Hendersonville Chamber of Commerce for inviting me here today. I think what I'll do is focus my principal remarks on issues of transit and regionalism, and then try to keep those brief and then open it up for questions. You know, one of the things I think is important for us always to bear in mind is that Middle Tennessee, the Nashville region, is the economic engine for the state of Tennessee. Specifically, Nashville has a $95 billion economy, making it number 35 in the United States. And 5 counties, Williamson, Wilson, Rutherford, Sumner, and Davidson, account for 40% of the state's population growth in the last census. We found out last spring that the Nashville region, all of us together, led the nation in job growth in 2012. And that comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I expect as a region we will post impressive numbers for 2013 as well. This achievement is a testament to the collaborative efforts of the private sector, the public sector, and the chambers over many years to create the conditions that help produce a strong economy and job growth. And by working together as a region, we can continue to be the economic driver for our state. Vibrant communities are built over time, and they're sustained over time. If we want Nashville and Middle Tennessee region to remain on top, then we have to keep an eye on the future, because a city can't move forward in any regard by hanging on to the status quo. The Nashville region our 10-county area, is expected to grow by 1 million people between now and 2035, which means that the Nashville region will roughly be the size of what the Denver region is today. And that just gives you a sense of what the challenges lying ahead of us are. That's something we can either seize and build upon, or something that we can ignore and pay the price for that. Early in my time as mayor, the Nashville Chamber of Commerce organized one of their annual inner-city visits to Denver.
Pardon me. Hi, everyone.
Thank you. And after we visited there, we realized that there were several lessons we can learn from the Denver region. And I think one of the great things about these inner-city visits is that nobody copyrights good ideas, and as mayors we go, or business leaders we go, and we do what any sensible person would do. If you find a good idea, you steal it. So when I was out there, and Scott was with me, we heard Mayor Hickenlooper speak from Denver, and the mayor is now the governor of Colorado, and he talked about the Denver's Mayor's Caucus. He talked about this organization he put together after he got elected mayor of Denver, where he invited all the mayors from the surrounding counties and cities to come to Denver periodically, at least once a month, to meet and talk about regional issues. And that seemed like a wonderful idea to me and to others. So what we did is came back to Nashville and stole that idea. And I invited all the mayors to come to Nashville where we could discuss whether we wanted to set up a caucus. And everybody agreed that we needed to do it. And so we have been meeting now for the last several years on a monthly basis, and sometimes more frequently, to be discussing issues of regional concern. And obviously those issues can vary from time to time, but the main issue that we talk about is transportation, which is, I think, vital to every city and county represented on the caucus. But there are also issues related to economic development. There are issues related to water supply and water issues. There are certainly issues related to education that deserve our attention. And so it has been very successful. And both Scott and Anthony have been tremendous members of the caucus, and it continues to move forward. And I believe, guys, we're the only region in the state that has done this. And what you learn, and what you know better than we do, I mean, politicians like myself, we think about county lines, we think about city lines, but businesses really don't think about it. You talk to somebody, they're located because for whatever reasons that particular location worked for them. They're not worried about where the lines are. They want the whole region to work. They want their whole quality of life, which is based upon the region in which they're living in, to work. And I think that is the attitude that all of us have taken into the Mayor's Caucus, and something that we have worked hard to develop a level of collaborative efforts together. So the main issue that I think we've confronted is transit. As I've mentioned, Nashville and this region is going to grow by 1 million people at least between now and 2035. And again, we need to plan for this growth. And what we need to do is plan for mass transit solutions. We're not going to be able to build our way out of the growing congestion. There's only so many roads we can build. There's only certain widths we can expand our current roads to. And so I think this conversation is going to become increasingly important throughout our region. Now in Nashville, we're going forward with an effort called the AMP. You've probably heard about it. Certainly if you visited Nashville, you've seen signs, red signs that say Stop AMP, and green signs that say Yes AMP. I'm a naive guy. When I first was driving down West End, I live over in that area, and I saw the Stop AMP signs. I kind of nudged my wife and said, hey, these people are supporters. They want to stop right here. Apparently that wasn't the gist of the sign. And I thought, I can't put a stop everywhere there's a red sign. But this discussion takes place on two levels, on a regional level and on a local level. And basically where we are as a region is that there is wide agreement that we need to develop transit plans for the entire Middle Tennessee region, the 10-county region. And this portion of the region is in particular need of relief, I believe, on the interstates and allowing commutes to take place that make it possible for commerce and business to take place, for people to get to places for entertainment, and to reduce the amount of time you spend sitting on I-65. Right? That is a legitimate and necessary thing that we have to work on. And the same thing goes for Williamson County and for Rutherford County, where the traffic going south on I-65 is terrible. And it's getting increasingly difficult on I-24 too, and it's also problems on I-40. I mean, these interstates are a huge part of our economic success, that they all meet here in Middle Tennessee. But for us to function, they have all got to move. And so when we begin this discussion about how are we going to develop regional transit, first, I think you get the widespread agreement that something is needed. Then you have to agree on basically what it's going to look like. And then you have to find a way to pay for it. And the way to pay for it is, there are federal funds available, and the federal government has its problems, but over time there certainly has been large amounts of federal funds available for transit, and we need to tap into that. But we also need to have, there's a local contribution and a state contribution. So what I think is going to happen on this regional issue over the course of the next few years, there's going to be the need on the local level, on the state level, and on the federal level for leadership to make sure that we are answering our problems and preparing for the future when this region continues to grow and grow very rapidly. And you can look around, whether it's St. Paul, Minneapolis, it's St. Paul, Minnesota, whether it's Grand Rapids in Michigan, or whether it's Dallas, it's Houston, wherever it is, all these other cities are tapping into federal funds in other regions to make themselves more economically viable and to work. And we need to be doing the same things. We're paying those taxes. And our region is equally dependent on the need for people to move about freely. So that discussion of regional transit solutions and how we're going to pay for them, how we're going to move forward on that, I think is going to become a bigger and bigger issue in Tennessee. And it's not just going to be an issue for the Nashville region. It's going to be an issue for Memphis. It's going to be an issue in Chattanooga. And it's going to be an issue in Knoxville. And it's where the public discussion, we need to be the leaders on it here in Middle Tennessee, because I think the problem is most clear here, and the ability to find a solution to the problem is most existent here in Middle Tennessee. Now, on the local level, we have proposed something called the AMP, which the AMP is Bus Rapid Transit, which is essentially a bus that is a nicer bus than what you're used to riding on, but runs in a dedicated lane, greater distances between stops, and runs to more sophisticated stops. A person would actually, you get your ticket to get on the bus, you pay for the bus before you enter into the waiting area. So when the bus arrives, it pulls up in a dedicated lane, the sides of the bus open up sort of like a subway or a train. Everybody exits, everybody goes on, and then it goes off to its next stop, and it's not impeded by traffic in any way. And so it will remain, it'll keep a commute time from White Bridge Road to downtown of 15 minutes, no matter what else happens on West End. The route will run from 5 points in East Nashville to White Bridge Road. Right? And the question becomes, who's gonna ride the AMP? Well, I try to ride the bus several times a week. I've ridden it the last 2 mornings, which was challenging the last 2 mornings. You try to time it so you get there close when the bus is going to arrive. But the people who are going to ride the AMP are going to be a lot like the people I ride the number 7 Hillsborough bus, the Green Hills bus. They're going to be, number one, you're going to have a bunch of people like me who are people going to work. Whether they work for the city, they work for the state, they work for law firms, they work for businesses downtown or on the way downtown, they get on the bus. So when I get on the bus, and I get on it early, I get on at the Boy Scouts basically at Woodmont and Hillsborough. There's about 3 or 4 people on the bus, and those are people roughly my age or younger. Everybody's younger now, going downtown to work. And as we go down Hillsborough Road, people get on who are students. Or they're working at Vanderbilt, and they get on and they have cards from Vanderbilt that Vanderbilt pays for their time on the bus. I have a Metro card. The city pays for me to ride the bus. And as you continue downtown, you come to Vanderbilt Medical Center. And a whole bunch of people then get on the bus. And these are the folks who have worked all night at Vanderbilt Medical Center to keep the hospital clean, to feed the patients, to make that building run. And for them to get to work, they need the bus. Because parking is a challenge, the cost of owning a vehicle is a challenge, and all those things keep them from being able to drive themselves, and they wouldn't be able to get to work to keep the hospital running, that keeps this region running without the transportation. And a whole bunch of people get on and get off. Some people who worked all night and some people who are going in. And as you continue down the road, you get students going on. And you always get a couple people, I see a couple people a week, get on the bus who have a disability, people who have a seeing problem, people who are in a wheelchair, people who can't drive because of disability, and the only way they have to live a normal life and participate in commerce, to be part of our society, is because they have access to transportation through a bus. Right? And the other folks who are going to ride the AMP are going to be the tourists. We get about 11 million tourists a year, and they all kind of start downtown. And they all need to go out to East Nashville, and they all need to go out in West End and to spend money in different parts of the city and enjoy the city. We have students in all different universities that will use the bus to get around safely on Friday and Saturday nights, hopefully, but also to see the city and make their time in Nashville better. I have no doubt that the ridership is there. Every study we've done has shown that it's there and it will work. Now, where we are with this is our proposals have gone to the federal government. We're waiting for the federal government to tell us whether they will put in the $70 million that we've requested and over what schedule they will put it in. We'll find out sometime during this year. I don't know exactly when that will be. And then if they do, the city will have to make a contribution itself, which I think we can do, we can afford to do, and it makes sense for us to do, and it's vital for us to do it. That's essentially where we are. My sense of this is that except for a certain area, basically from 440 going to White Bridge Road, and that is a relatively narrow area, that the support in the city for it is widespread. The council voted to authorize millions of dollars of money to move this project along less than a year ago, and the vote was overwhelmingly in favor of it. The polls, not my polls, but polls by the Rockefeller Foundation and others, indicate support for transit solutions to be well above 75%. People get it. And what I don't want us to have happen is that we don't do anything. I've lived in Nashville now for over 30 years, and we've talked about transit in Nashville for 30 years. There's been all sorts of ideas, but we're growing fast, and I don't want to be in a position where my grandchildren say, Hey, Grandpa, what did you do? What did you do when all this traffic was building up? What did you do to get us ready for the future? The places that really succeed are the places that think about the future. And think of this, as a region, our biggest competitors, I think, as cities, economic development, are Charlotte and Austin. I'd probably reverse the order. Austin number 1, Charlotte number 2. Both of those cities, those regions, are at least a decade ahead of us when it comes to transit. A decade ahead of us. So that's the urgency of this. And what I say to people who are doubters is, look, we're still in the design stage. I will admit, I like to say I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant. All right, I'm a politician. I want to keep people happy. When this thing is being designed, the goal will be to make it work as smoothly as possible for everybody involved. I don't want to disrupt neighborhoods. I don't want to create problems where there are no problems. I want to lead, and I want to see our region and our city move forward, but I want to try to do it in a way that works for everybody. So my sense of this is it's going to happen. It might not happen on the schedule that I would like to see it on. I'm in a hurry. But it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, let me know what the answer is to our grandkids. because we're going to need to explain why we didn't do anything when we had the opportunity to preserve our prosperity, to preserve our quality of life, and to make our region everything that it can be. I'd be happy to answer questions. Yeah.
Karl Dean, it's exciting. Can you kind of give everybody a vision of what transit region is going to look like? You know, the AMP is basically the foundation for a transit system in Middle Tennessee. And of course, we're interested in the Northeast Corridor, which does 3 and 6 is maxed out. I get calls every day, people concerned about that. So for us, to build a transit system, it's going to have to be a combination of improving the road and making mass transit part of that improvement. If you could kind of give a vision of what that looks like.
I mean, the AMP, number one, it is not a one-off. I mean, this isn't just one thing we want to do. This is part of for the city itself, it's part of a whole series of things that need to happen. And the city, we've already invested in BRT. We're running bus rapid transit on Gallatin Road, and we're running it on Murfreesboro Road. It's a little bit different than what we're talking for the West End, East Nashville route, because it's not in a dedicated lane. But it's buses that go longer distances. It's buses that have these light extenders so that when they come to the light, the street light, it can keep it green. It extends the green light so the bus gets through. And I understand what you're all thinking is we'll just follow the bus in our car. I get that. But we will continue to make those investments. And the AMP isn't just the end of it. Then you do another route. Then you do more cross-town connections. You got to build a system. But where it fits into the regional aspect of this is when we do a regional transit system of some sort, whether it's BRT on the interstates, whether it's more regional bus transit, whether it's ultimately light rail, which is expensive, but whatever it is, that will run to downtown Nashville. And when you get in downtown, you want to have something you can get on that's going to take you to East Nashville or West Nashville or South Nashville, wherever you need to go. And so it's going to be linked in to whatever we do with the northern part of the region, the southern part of the region, or whatever. But that's the way we have to think of it and work together to get it done. But it's all part of a regional effort. And the challenges to do this regionally are going to be, the evident one is, how do we pay for it? This is not something as a state that we've done in the past. We've never done mass transit as a state. But we need to do it. And we need to find an equitable way that it can be funded, which is not going to be overwhelmingly burdensome to anybody, but you've got to find a way to put some money into transit that will create ways for people to move around the region between counties. Again, these county lines are important, but that's not the way the world works. You got to flow between those lines or the commerce will stop. Mike?
And it just seems to be common sense, Karl. What are the stop AMP people saying? What's their argument?
Well, their argument is, number one, I think it really boils down to fear of change. I don't think it's like they're anti-mass transit in the sense that they wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to do everything I can to prevent anybody having an alternative to a car. But I think they wake up and they think, the city's growing. I'm nervous about that. They're going to change something that happens on West End and going into East Nashville, and I've been driving on this road for 30 or 40 years, and I'm nervous about that, which I understand. Change is hard. And so I think that's their main concern. And their concern would be that if it's not designed properly or if it's not handled correctly, that the traffic delays become greater. But my message on that is simple. If you're against change, I get it. But the status quo cannot be protected here. I mean, I'm a general believer that the status quo is not our friend in most cases. It's hard to challenge the status quo, but things need to keep changing and evolving. But you can't say, I want West End to be what it was like in 2013 forever, because it's not going to happen. In 5 years from now, the commute that goes from White Bridge Road to downtown is going to double in time if you do nothing. It's going to go up with the AMP, but the AMP will run faster, but it will go up less with the AMP. But the status quo cannot be preserved because there are 1 million people coming to our region. You can drive down West End in Nashville. You can drive all over Nashville, and what do you see? You see cranes where apartment buildings are being built. You see condominiums. You see new office towers. Our tourism is going through the roof. More and more people are coming. So the status quo is not an option. The options are do nothing and pay the price, or do something and prepare for the future. Yes, ma'am. Like I said, the 40% of the population growth in Tennessee was generated in Middle Tennessee. And you see, what you see is, I can't rattle off all the cities, but this area, Clarksville, Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, Williamson County, these areas are growing incredibly fast. Nashville's growing, but you're all growing faster, percentage-wise. So some of the biggest cities in Tennessee are going to become Murfreesboro and Clarksville, and that's all happening as we talk. Yes.
Can you talk about Nashville's effort to make Nashville more bicycle friendly, and also talk about greenways?
Yeah, I think we have, and it goes back to Mayor Bredesen, and certainly Mayor Purcell was a huge supporter of this too. Greenways are probably the most popular thing you get to do as mayor. When I go to the grocery store, I hear a lot of questions, and some of them are critical, some of them not. But the thing you hear the most excitement about and general agreement that it's a great thing for the city are greenways. Everybody loves greenways. And if you think back when Mayor Bredesen first started the greenway projects, and we've just kept developing them, when he started it, they were controversial. Again, this is the whole change thing. People didn't want a greenway in their neighborhood because they thought it would bring crime. And what's happened instead is greenways bring in more public safety, and greenways bring real increases in property values. And everybody gets it now. And so we're a city that is fanatical about greenways. We're doing more and more with biking. We're doing more bike trails. We've had great success with our bike program, where you can rent a bike by the hour or so downtown and drive around. The last couple of days probably been a little rough on them, but that's been a good thing, and it fits into what I want to see us do as a city, being more environmentally friendly, but also more health conscious. I think it's important for us to continue to emphasize that. It's got to be a baseball question, like when's the groundbreaking? The groundbreaking, I think, is going to be either this month or early next month. So I'm excited by that one. It was. I think when I got elected mayor, there's a lot of things you want to do, and the convention center was top of my list in terms of a big project. And then the baseball thing was never a necessity. We don't have to build a baseball stadium, but I think we clearly needed one. And then when I looked at, we went through some tough discussions with the sounds, because I was pretty fixated on Sulphur Dell. I think that we have put with the Omni, the other hotel investments there, what we've done with Korean Veterans Boulevard, what's been done with the Country Music Hall of Fame, what's been done with the Convention Center. We, the private sector and the nonprofit sector, have literally spent over $1 billion south of Broadway. And so it was real important to me that we make make an investment, not of that magnitude, because we can't afford to do it at that magnitude, in North Nashville. And I think that the sound stadium there will work, and it will work really well, and it's going to even make that neighborhood stronger, and hopefully it really empowers the Jefferson Street area too, which is my goal. Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to keep the name Sulphur Dell?
I hope so. I love the old pictures of the sign Sulphur Dell. I think that's part of the appeal, was the historic location there, and it was nice for it all to come together in a year when the Red Sox won the World Series. I had to throw that in somewhere.
I don't ask about baseball, but what about what do you think the significance of the Nashville television show, and do you advise the other mayor of Nashville City?
Well, I'll say this, that Teddy has a lot more interesting life than I have. So The show has been great for Nashville. I mean, just stop and think about this. I mean, this is a show that is seen every week by somewhere between 5 and 7 or 8 million people watch it. And I'm convinced that there are people all over the country who wake up the next morning and say, I'm going to move to Nashville to drive around in a BMW or whatever they do on that show, or visit the city. And then it is shown in probably close to 30 countries around the world. Right? And then the music, of course, generates its own attention through its sales. And so for a city where hospitality is our number 2 employer, we employ 53,000 people in the hospitality industry, getting that sort of national, worldwide attention can't be beat. And so it's been a wonderful thing. I hope it has great success and continues to go on for years and years. And the guy who plays Teddy's a real good guy. I've met him several times. He's a good guy. Anything? Yes?
Is there a run for governor in the future?
Well, the governor's running for re-election. He's running for governor. Look, I've got 20 months left as mayor. I'm going to serve my term, and I love my job. And the best thing about this job, and you can say this here in Hendersonville too, and you can say it with total conviction, is I feel really lucky because I get to get up every day and I work with really great people, and I work for a city that's getting better. Nashville is going to be a better place 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. Hendersonville, the entire region can say the same. And there aren't a whole lot of other places that can say that. I say that with really absolute conviction. We just got to be smart. We got to think about the future. Preserve the things that are great about this area. I mean, you know what makes Nashville such a special place? And Hendersonville and Middle Tennessee is just how friendly people are. And people don't, it takes everybody a while to get it. But, I came here 30 plus years ago from Massachusetts. I'm not running for re-election, so I can admit I came from Massachusetts. And I was struck almost immediately by how friendly the place was. And I, luckily for me, when I was in law school at Vanderbilt, I met a woman who was a lot smarter than me, a Nashville native. And, old story, we fell in love, and we go through these, what diplomats would call frank and open discussions about where we were going to live when we got married. And I live in Nashville. And so it was the first of many failures as an advocate I've had in my life. But it's the best thing, beyond marrying Ann and having 3 beautiful kids, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. This is the right place to be living at the right time. And the best thing about it now as I age is I know our kids can come back here, have successful lives, interesting lives, and they're going to want to come back here because it's only getting better. So I'm going to be mayor for 20 months. I wish I could do it longer. They're telling me I got to go, and I'm going to go. But that's what I'm going to do for the next 20 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Dean. We really appreciate your comments and your vision for this region. I know that we have great leaders here in our own community, but we need that leadership down in Nashville to also help us with that. So, Scott, thank you for your help along with Mayor Dean in the process of all of that. We are blessed to be living here in this community. We have lots and lots of wonderful people. People are friendly. It is what brings people to this area. We hear it everywhere we go. And so 2 of the friendliest people that I know are going to come up here and tell you a little about their business here in just a second. I would love for Ted Bloodworth with Good Pastor Christian School to come, and then following him is Jim Butera with ITS Techs, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their business so that you'll know a little more. So please welcome Ted.
I know how much you love to hear me talk today, but I'm going to let my academic superintendent from Good Pastor, Mrs. Diane Sturman, speak for us, okay?
I'm delighted this morning to speak to you for, I think, about 1 minute about Good Pastor Christian School. Good Pastor is unique for many reasons. We are the largest private school north of downtown Nashville. We offer classes for students from 12 months of age all the way through 12th grade. Good Pastor is a college preparatory school offering up to 45 hours of college credit prior to graduation. So we have a lot of our seniors that graduate and are actually sophomores in college when they start. We offer a variety of electives for students interested in pursuing different careers, including an audio production class, which has a full recording studio utilizing the industry standard software, video production classes, and this year we just added a new engineering cohort for students who are interested in pursuing engineering as a career in college. I could go on and on talking to you about our campus-wide I-Level initiative with technology and all the things that we're doing, but I wanted to end with just sharing one way to really evaluate success and how you're doing is just to look at a couple of students that have recently graduated. We last year graduated a National Merit Scholar. Just a couple of years ago, graduated Navy star quarterback Keenan Reynolds, who maintained a 4.0 average the whole time he was there. About 5 years ago, graduated a singer who's #1 on the country charts for several weeks, Thomas Rhett, and he was very involved in our music program at Good Pasture. We've got players on the NFL, and a current student that we have this year that's a senior was just selected out of 200,000 applicants to work with Google as a program developer with Google. It's called Google Glass, and you'll be hearing a lot more about the glasses that you can wear and actually work in technology with that. And he is getting ready, hopefully, to be admitted into MIT. So we're very excited about that for him and awaiting to hear that news. But he's got a great chance there. So we're excited about our students and just the success that they're experiencing. If you do want to know any more about Good Pastor Christian School, I know Ted, our admissions director, will be glad to give you lots of information about that. Thank you. Get your draw for our door prize. Do you want to tell them what it is?
No, just
Okay. Craig Tankersley.
A little bit taller. Good afternoon. I am also a damn Yankee. I'm originally from New Jersey. Been here about 30 years too as well. 1982 is actually when I moved here. This place has changed. It's been tremendous, awesome. But Jim Butera, ITS Techs, we do computer sales and service throughout Middle Tennessee. 90% of our time we're spending with businesses out on the road, doing it remotely. We even have customers out as far as Utah that we help remotely. And we also have a shop down at West Main, corner of Old Chapel in West Main. But working with all types of businesses of all sizes, 1 to 200 employees to as many as, we have one that has about 500 employees, but most of them around 50 to 100 employees. And then we have our consumer customers that come in to our shop as well. We have some fun there. But I do have a door prize as well. Couldn't find any cool technology, but this here is the time of year for an auto safety kit. Has a warm blanket in it to keep you warm. And I already pulled the winner. It's Lynn Silverman.
Thank you all very much. I have just a few announcements and then we'll be able to dismiss the group today. I want to talk about the upcoming advocacy opportunities. This Friday at 7:15 in the room is our coffee and conversation. It's our state legislative delegation, and so we hope that many of you will be able to come and listen to Farrell Hale and William Lamberth and Courtney Rogers talk about what is going on with down at the state legislature. Starts at 7:15. Breakfast is there, and then the program will start about 7:30. So come on down. We also have upcoming connection events every Wednesday at the chamber office at noon. We have a leads exchange, and we've got about 40 folks who come. So we hope that you'll be a part of that. Our business after hours this month is actually combined with our business showcase, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute under promotion opportunities. Our February 4th luncheon is to be determined. We're still working on that program, but just keep your eyes and ears open for that, and the information will be in our newsletter. Our next promotion opportunity is actually the business showcase on January the 16th. It is presented by At Last Day Spa. It's going to be held here at Bluegrass Country Club from 5 to 7. And immediately preceding that will actually be our Board of Mayor and Alderman reception. That's going to be from 4 to 5 in the afternoon. It's going to be back here in the glass room. And so we've invited all of our BOMA members to come and meet and greet with folks. This is hosted by our Government Relations Committee and our Board of Directors. So all of you are certainly invited to come and mix and mingle and chat and all of that stuff. So we hope you can be there. Again, that's at 4 o'clock on January the 16th. Just before the business showcase. Our next event is the Mid-10 Home Show, which is March the 15th and 16th at the Expo Center. Again, this year it's presented by Sumner Roofing and Exteriors, and we still have sponsorships and booths available, and so Cassie Morin will be happy to help you with that, and that is looking to be another big event this year. Our next support opportunity is our member update. That is going to be happening this Wednesday. This is a really busy week. You know, we were out for a couple of weeks kind of at the end of the year, and then boom, we're right back here and we're doing all kinds of stuff. Our basic bronze and silver members will be invited to that on January the 9th from 11:30 to 1, and it's a free lunch, so we want you to come and learn about what's going on at the Chamber. And then our young professionals group, for which I am not qualified to attend, is going to be meeting on January the 23rd at noon at the Hendersonville Library. The Tilted Kilt is going to be providing the food. I guess they're not going to go to the Tilted Kilt, but they're going to go to the library and they're going to bring the food over there. So there's going to be a showcase of local nonprofits there. If you are a young professional in the 20 to 40-ish kind of time, kind of age range, please participate in that. We'd love to have you. And it's my understanding that you can find out about that on some of these things called Facebook and Twitter, whatever. So you can join them this month there. We have our standard drawings from Jets Pizza and Signature Cleaners, and our Jets Pizza winner is Matt Lawson, and our Signature Cleaners winner is Stacy McCauley. Matt with Comcast and Stacy with HCA Hendersonville Medical Center. And that's all I have for the good of the cause. I hope you all have a safe and warm afternoon. Thank you for being here.